Greetings everyone, this is Connor from Dagora TV, and in this video we're talking about 4 things fans want from the Elder Scrolls 6. This thing right here, a different landscape, is the thing that I get commented about most and talked about on most of my videos in responses to the tweets and Reddit posts and everything, is a different landscape than what we've seen so far. Especially the different landscape from Skyrim, because a lot of people are really sick of snow. And yes, we had snow in parts of Cyrodiil, in the northern area of Cyrodiil, but other than that, Cyrodiil is mainly a forest location. But snow to me gets boring quickly, and yes, Skyrim was one of the most beautiful games I've ever played, and had breathtaking vistas and everything, but it was a pain walking through Dawnstar, and how many people downloaded the Climates of Tamriel mod on PC because they got sick of seeing the same weather all the time. Snow is something that's really dull, and I think it would be best for Bethesda Game Studios to go to a different province from Skyrim, or an icy province instead of going to Atmora, the different continent from Tamriel for instance. Go somewhere different, maybe somewhere like Valenwood. Yes, that is a jungle that is, similar to Cyrodiil. It's a similar kind of landscape, but much more rainforesty. Whereas the forest of Cyrodiil was very much more like the forest that you get in like in English woods. Whereas in Valenwood and areas of elsewhere is very much dense, very rainforesty. Definitely a lot of different animals in there, different kinds of vistas and cities. It's a very different landscape. Or if not there, go to Hammerfell. Very different there as well. You've got the Alkiri Desert, you've got the underground cities, the massive landscapes of, forests on the coastlines of Hammerfell. Very good province, to get something different out of. And a different landscape, to me, is what I want aesthetically. And really, it also brings on a different kind of culture when it's in a different landscape, as, with the snow that we had in Skyrim, we had them very Norse, Viking kind of people there, that was good at battling with the cold and everything. That's what the natives were there for. Whereas if we go to, say, Valenwood again, with the trees and everything, the Wood Elves are going to be more tribe-like, more climbing, and it's going to be different to experience, and I think the landscape has that effect on them, as we saw how the landscape had an effect on the people of Skyrim, and I think it's going to be interesting to see that in a different province. Plus, it's going to be good for the person playing the game to see these kind of different landscapes as well when going through the vistas, going to the top of a mountain and seeing them, going to the top of the hill from the top balcony of a building and seeing it go on ever after. Different kinds of landscapes is what we kind of want, and I think the ones that we could get in Hammerfell or Valenwood is different than what we've seen also in other games of the genre, like The Witcher 3 for instance, which goes for the battlelands in a time of war, general run-of-the-mill medieval area with, a kind of a clansman Viking area to the west of the place called Skellige. But overall, something different from snow would be great, and is much wanted from the grand majority of the Elder Scrolls fan base. Better relationships with the NPCs or the characters of the game is a big one for me and an absolute must, because this is an area which I think the Elder Scrolls series as a whole has lacked in. Yes, we had a great relationship with Lucy and LeChance in Oblivion, but overall since then, and in the other Elder Scrolls games, there's not really many memorable NPCs. We have the odd encounter with Ulfric Stormcloak and, say, General Tullius, but other than that, there's nothing really good to shout about. Comparing this to something like Dragon Age or The Witcher series, where we have so many interesting characters that we get to know them, we know much more about their motives, much more about their personality, where they grew up and everything. Whereas with a lot of the stuff about the people in the Elder Scrolls series, a lot of the Fiend people that we play with at the time, like Ulfric Stormcloak, you find out more about in reading books. And this needs to be dramatically improved upon, and something that I hope it will, because this was improved upon in Fallout 4. Whereas with the NPCs in the game, yes, we had less dialogue options, but you could ask more questions, we could get more out of them, we could understand a lot more about the characters, we kind of generated connections to people like Preston and things like that. Whereas in Skyrim, one of the first NPCs you meet, for instance, is either Ralof or Hadvar, and really you don't see them at all until you do the Civil War questline, which is depending on when you want to do it, in 2 levels time or in 30 levels time, which isn't great, to be honest with you. That it would be good if you could pop up every now and then, see him in the tavern or something like that, or see him when you're out on the road and just have a conversation with him, see how he's getting on and doing. Generate a relationship with him. This is something that could also benefited with the follower system, because Lydia, for Christ's sake, she had about 3 lines of dialogue in the entire game. How better would that be if you could ask them, where are you from? What are you doing here? What do you want to do in the future? Things like that, learn about the character a bit more. They ask you questions and you answer them. Generate a relationship with them, so then when Lydia eventually died, or your follower eventually dies, you're kind of quite sad about it, you had that connection there. And it would be a lot more impactful, as really the only impactful death that we've had in the Elder Scrolls series for me was when you choose to kill Parthenax. That was an impactful kill. But other than that, there's nothing really there. Maybe Lucian the Chance, but I'm not sure about that one. There's better relationships needs to go ahead, because it was my favourite part of the Witcher series. It's my favourite part of reading anything fantasy driven is the characters, and drama is the characters. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that, because I think with better characters, you get a better story, which leads to a better game, and kind of leads everyone to just enjoying the experience a lot more overall. An improvement to the Magicka system is an absolute must for me, because yes, I do think that the Skyrim system was an improvement in Oblivion, but I think they should go another step further. Have a lot more better spells, because there are some fantastic spells in the modding community which we get and have made the enjoyment a lot better, but having that in the vanilla experience, and bring back some of the old spells like levitation and things like that, invisibility not being a potion anymore, things like that, and have a bit more leeway, a bit more freedom about going to choose your Magicka. Not just having 3 attack damage spells, for instance, not just sparks, fire and ice. Have, use crazy things like that, have some more giant spells. If you want to be a solely Magicka user, you should be really benefited by that, by going the effort and having really epic spells, like maybe something called, Storm or something, and have like some lightning storm just kind of cast above the enemies and just fire them down and really look cool. There was one mod that I had which was like a tidal, and it shot like a tsunami wave towards the enemies and took them all out. And these were high demanding spells, took a lot of magic that was in the mods. And I think having that in the system of the vanilla experience would make it a lot better. Another thing they could do for Magicka to bring it back is have spell crafting. This is something that the Elder Scrolls MMO brought back in the Elder Scrolls Online, and it's gone down a storm, and I think it would go down a lot better in a single player experience, because you don't have to restrict it as much. And it was a fan favourite really from Morrowind, and I would really like it to come back. It was really scrapped, as Bethesda scrapped some things that have been appreciated for them scrapping, like acrobatics and athletics, which was a joke of a skill. But I think when it comes to Magicka, there should be definitely more there for the Magicka Soul users, because if you compare the amount of people that went completely combat and completely Magicka, there were so many people that just went completely, shield and sword combat or archery combat and just dabbled a little bit in magic. Magic should be something that you just dabble in. I think it should have the benefits there for you to go all out, make your character in that way, because if you try to make your character a sole magic user, it's very difficult, and you do have to rely on boss for the first 10 to 20 levels, and I don't really want that to be the case. I want it to be something that you can improve upon in the later levels. You get really kick-ass, unbelievable spells, which you can only get by working so hard for, and taking a step in that direction would make it a lot better for the players who wanted to play the game, for a longer period of time, to put that effort in and get that. And I think that is a good reward for, for the hard, longer serving players. Okay, the final thing, and I think every single person will agree with me on this, is a better engine. This was wanted for Fallout 4. It's even been wanted since Skyrim. The best example that I can give of the engine limitations is the Battle of Whiterun, when you've got, you're defending the city against the Stormcloak invasion. You're thinking, oh my god, the Stormcloaks are coming, we're going to have to defend, everyone get you here, raise your arms, and then 3 people just start running to Whiterun. It was a massive error in the part of the the technical limitations of the console and the engine that had it. It was something that really left us all wanting from Skyrim, and is something that's been improved upon in Fallout 4, but we could definitely have a lot better player battles, a lot better battles in the game if you could have more NPCs in there, and that is done by having an improvement on the engine, improvement on the physics forever, because for Christ's sake, the test physics is a known thing of being broken and fucked. I remember one time when I was just really messing around a little bit with the console commands, and I made 1,000 goat cheese wheels just appear in this room, and they killed me because they all drop down on you. The physics in that game are kind of crazy, and you know, running into areas that sometimes I'm bashing into a skull because sometimes the skull will be switched by a bug to be a object that can hurt, and then you'd be hurt by it and you'd end up being killed by skulls bouncing around. That was a bug that I saw in a YouTube video. There's a lot of things that go on with this engine, especially when it comes to bugs, that needs to be improved now that we're on the next gen systems. And I think that the grand majority of fans would agree that even in Fallout 4, the NPC faces were awful. They should definitely be improved upon. They could definitely do a lot in there because the game looks old. It doesn't look like a brand new state-of-the-art game like Uncharted 4 looks, Metal Gear Solid 5 looked, or The Witcher 3 looked. It looked like a 5-year-old game, and that's not a compliment to them at all. It's a bad thing that needs to be put right by not just improving it, but by having a new one. And if that means taking an extra year out to make this engine, then by all means go ahead and do it. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching the video, and if you want to leave your comments of what you want the Elder Scrolls 6 to improve upon from the previous Elder Scrolls games, by all means leave them in the comments. I really want to talk with you, have a discussion back and forth about what can be improved upon and everything. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it, and also please make sure you check out all my other Elder Scrolls 6 videos on the playlist link in the description and the video card that's on the screen right now. Also, if you want to go a step further and donate, then the Patreon and PayPal links are in the description below. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at DagoraC. Once again, thanks for watching and subscribe.